To Ring Ready Live, the home of the owner handler, brought to you by Showsight magazine. I'm Dan Sayers here with Lee Whittier, the dog show mentor. And as always, you are joining us for a conversation about all things that interest you, the owner handler. And today, Lee, we are on episode 14 in our series. And I can't believe that we have been doing this show for that many episodes, but we have a lot of you who've been with us since the beginning. We want to thank you for that. If this is your first time, I want to remind you that this is your time. We allow you 30 minutes each day to disconnect, to take a deep breath and relax, and to discuss with Lee Whittier and myself things that are important to you as an owner handler and as a breeder owner handler. So again, we thank you. Let us know in the comments section here where you're from, what is your breed or your breeds, and also let us know how long you've been an owner handler. And that's really important because many of you are new to the sport of dogs, and we're so grateful that you have joined us in this community that will embrace you and lift you up, and a community in which you can find mentors. And this is that kind of a place. So Lee, as the dog show mentor, you've been giving us such great advice and points of view about lots of different topics. And today's topic is one that a lot of you have told us you're very interested in, and that is the free stack. And I'm going to ask Lee to discuss several things concerning the free stack, not the least of which is, Lee, what is the price of a free stack? And does it always coincide with the words and the intentions of a breed standard? So, but we'll get to that in a minute. I want to also remind everyone, in addition to leaving comments here with us, you can always reach us at Ring Ready at showsightmagazine.com. And you can even bypass and get to Lee directly in a number of ways. So Lee, would you mind reminding everyone how they can find you?
Sure. First, I'm going to say hello to Summer and welcome back, and Peg with the Bernese Mountain Dog. Hi there. We've got Linda from Minnesota with Dobermans, and Robin. You are so welcome from Houston. And Pamela, 40 years, Nebraska, boxers, and toy fox terriers recently. Excellent. So many of you are already a member of my Dog Show Mentor Owner Handlers Facebook group. It's free, and I invite you to come and join it. And if you aren't a member, you may get an invitation from me directly, because I would really like all of you to come and ask questions, because I started Dog Show Mentors so that owner handlers could empower themselves with information. And so that's what I've been providing for the last 4 years, is as much information as I can get to you. So, and as Dan said, the last 14 weeks we've been here doing just that.
And again, I want to thank everyone who is joining us today. I see Annalise from Alaska with Rottweilers. Tammy has Great Danes, and she first started showing as an owner handler in 2008. And Michael Lamp, hello, Michael, Irish Red and White Setters from Waterford, Ohio, 44 years as a breeder, owner, and handler. Michael, we're happy to have you join us this week. Really appreciate your being here. So, Lee, would you mind if I tell everyone about a conversation that you and I had briefly recently? And you and I were talking about doing the show, and how sometimes right before the start of the show, we kind of feel a little bit of nervousness. It's not unlike the nerves. It's not unlike the nerves that owner handlers feel right before they enter the ring with their dog. And I had mentioned that the way that I feel each week is sort of like when I'm throwing a dinner party, and right before the first guest arrives, it feels the exact same way. It's a combination of, is it all going to go right? And is everybody going to have a good time? And then once that first guest arrives, it's just nothing but fun. And that's how this show feels as well. And I only mention that, Lee, because I want to encourage anyone who maybe feels a little nervous about participating. Don't be nervous. Send the Dog Show Mentor your question. Lee would love to hear from you, as would I and all of our listeners. And you'll really be helping many other owner handlers and breeder owner handlers as well as yourself. This is a great time where you can get your question in front of Lee. And Lee, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, but I thought it kind of warranted a mention on the show here today.
Absolutely. And a lot of what we talk about at Dog Show Mentor is that so many owner handlers and professional handlers as well have ring nerves. And I've talked about this a couple times, that I'll see people I know have been showing for 30 years shaking and having, sweaty hands. You get to almost see that. And it's not from the 100-degree weather that we've been having either. So it's human nature to have that excitement happen. And it's what you do with it that makes or break that presentation.
And that's where all the training and coaching, no doubt.
Yeah. And we've got Dagmar from Europe, Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic. We've got Wupak from Mysore. Yep. And Finnish Lapins. Okay. And Doreen from Arizona with Mastiffs. Angela, welcome from the UK. And Annalise is showing since 1998. Marion is new to showing. So we have quite a variety here. Just like in Dog Show Mentor, we do different things in the Dog Show Mentor Owner Handlers Facebook group. It's really, it's very different from the other groups that you may be a member of. And I think part of that is because people know that it's my group, right? It's the Dog Show Mentor group. So they're there for a purpose rather than just being there to tell their story about what happened last weekend. We're here to reflect on what happened last weekend. Okay. Hi, Michelle. Welcome. Matthew, welcome. All right. So.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, Lee, we asked our viewers, if you will, to reach out to us if they had any questions for you. And we received a lot of replies. We've gotten to several here in past shows. I'd like to do it again this time. And I want to say to anyone whose question goes unanswered here at Ring Ready Live, that you can always reach Lee at the email address on our Facebook page and by becoming a member of Dog Show Mentor, where you will receive the reply. So it's not that we don't see you or hear you, and it's certainly not that we don't appreciate you. We're just trying to get to as many as we can in the time that's allotted for all of us each week. And Lee, we have a question for you this week before we get to that main question. And this one came from Nat. And Nat wanted to know, does the judge always give the same direction in the same order to all of the handlers in the ring? Or does it vary from handler to handler? And Nat asks, in other words, can the judge, for example, tell me to do something different than the handler who went before me? Your thoughts?
Well, Nat, thanks for that question. It is a great question. And so I'm going to answer it as fulsomely as possible. And there are actually several questions there. Does the judge always give the same direction commands in the same order to all the handlers in the ring? And the answer is that the American Kennel Club directs the judges to do just that. We want, or AKC wants, and the judge wants, each exhibitor to have the exact same opportunity in the ring. So if you'll notice, almost every judge will do a down and back to the same location. They don't change it. Now, the exhibitor might change it, but we don't change it. We'll either motion to the corner, we'll motion over, or we'll say, down and back, or we'll say over and back to the corner and back. So yes, and sometimes if a person might look new, we might be a little bit more directive than we would to someone who appears to be more experienced, right? But AKC wants us to give the same directions to everyone in the same order. Now, there are also times on the table or on the exam where a dog may seem hesitant or the exhibitor is having difficulty setting the dog up. And some judges, including myself, may say, I usually do the bite first, but let's just do the body quickly and then I'll come back and do the bite. Just to give the dog the opportunity to really shine to its best and to not upset it, even more importantly. But it should not vary from handler to handler as much as we really want that dog to be comfortable on the table. So sometimes you might do the bite first. We always try to do it in the same order. If we have a dog that's having some difficulty, we want to give that dog a chance too. We'd love to have them all trained exactly the same, but that's not always possible. We get what we get. Okay, so where this would not be true is in, for example, a sudden rainstorm, thunderstorm, where the sun moves. We try to keep the one breed all the same. So if we see the sun moving, so we may change where the location is of what we're doing. We may have to change where the down and back is. So we might move under the tent more, different breed. We try to do that between breeds so we don't upset the flow of judging. We want that flow of judging to be good for everyone, for all the exhibitors. And we really don't want to, it's easier and faster for the judge to walk down the line and tell the exhibitor to just go across if they want a second down and back. But really, that's not giving each exhibitor the exact same opportunity, because particularly outdoors, the ground may be different levels. They have maybe a different length. So we always want to ask the exhibitor to come up to where we're doing the down and back rather than walking down the line. Does that make sense, Nat? I hope it does. And I hope that was an answer that was fulsome and helpful to you as an exhibitor. If you need further clarification, please don't hesitate to put it in the chat. All right.
Well, thank you, Lee. You had me thinking about here in the U.S. how being such a large country, in some places shows are always held indoors. Other places they are held under very large tents. And in some places they're held outdoors without any tenting. It's just different. And you who travels around the country, you also have to sort of factor that in to your procedure, don't you?
Absolutely. And I see Elizabeth is here from Kentucky. And thank you, Donna. Wish all judges would do the bite last. I don't always do the bite last because I don't want to forget to do it. And I've been 20 years judging, doing it first. And it can vary from breed to breed, but for the most part, particularly the bite is so easy and so teachable, and we've proved that it's teachable because all the exhibitors are doing it. Almost every exhibitor is doing a great job showing the mouth. And they didn't do that a year ago, right? Or a year and a half ago before things changed with AKC directing us not to touch the mouths if we didn't have to. Okay. Replying to Angela, I'm here too. Think it was through you I saw this. Oh, cool. Well, hey, Heather. Welcome.
Welcome, Heather. Nice to have you here today. Lee, without any further ado, let's get to the topic at hand, which is one that I know everybody's going to have an opinion on, and that is the free stack. So my question to you, Lee, is a free stack really free? And is there a cost to a breed when the desire to nail a free stack flies in the face of a breed standard?
Well, yes, of course. um, so I'm going to preface this as usual by saying, it's all going to go back to the standard. And some of you might get tired of me saying this, but well, it's true. And it goes back to the standard for me as a judge. So why wouldn't it go back to the standard for you as an exhibitor? So you need to read your standard in a couple different places. One of them is purpose. One of them is temperament. And, the free stack is, in some breeds, it's just a requirement. In the Doberman, you got to do it. In the Rottweiler, you got to do it. In some of the giant breeds, it's just not possible. I've seen Newfoundlands do great free stacks. Do I care? I don't really look at it as an important thing in that breed. I'm personally more looking at the silhouette and the head. And sometimes the silhouette, it becomes over exaggerated in a free stack. So it actually can work against you. When an exhibitor goes overboard with just gesturing, I've been hit in the head with people's hands. I've been hit in the head with bait. It's quite an experience to see people kneeling or doing exceptional moves to try to accentuate the presentation. And sometimes those gestures take away from the judge's ability to look at the dog because it's a distraction. You never want to distract from your dog. So this killer free stack is fantastic. Yeah, right. A lot of flying bait, Summer. I know. So we don't want it to take away from the dog. We want it to make the dog appear more like its breed. So what does your breed standard say about how it should stand? I mean, well, the German Shepherd obviously has a different stance than the Collie. We never free stack the Collie. So you're always going to have that free bait. What we don't see with the Collie that we could, and is that often the dogs aren't trained to stand on their own with a handler well in front and really showcasing their dog. I don't judge Collies, but I'm familiar with the breed. So, Dan, what do you think as far as what do you look for in your puppies that the free stack would be how that would be applied?
Yeah, thanks, Lee. I was actually just thinking about that because I have a soon-to-be 6-month-old puppy here at home, and when her litter was on the ground, and I mean literally just up on their legs, I did what I do with every litter, is I like nothing more as a breeder than to sit down and simply observe the litter. I like to see how they interact with one another and when they start to show me who they are. But in terms of free stack, I've learned that some puppies sort of do that naturally. And why do they do that? They do that because of the way they are built. And so I am always looking for the puppy that will move in a very balanced way for its breed, but also I want to see how do they stop on their own without a lead and a collar, and even as early as 5 or 6 weeks of age. And, they will tell you how they are constructed, by just reliably stopping 4 square. Those are the puppies that I'm always, if not drawn to, they're the ones that I really pay attention to. And so I see that as they enter the show ring, I see that those puppies They need very little setup for the exam, but they can also come back on that down and back and reliably, if not nail a free stack, they can certainly stop in a way that I think you as a judge will appreciate, because in that stopping, you see how balanced they are. And you even get to see a little bit of their temperament as well, because they're going to, in that standing, they're going to carry their head and tail a certain way. That's going to give you some indication, I think, of who they are in here and then in their heart. And of course, it's breed specific, isn't it? Because my breed, being Irish Water Spaniels, they don't stand still for very long. It is, it's if you can get a snapshot moment, you're as a judge and as an exhibitor, we're grateful for that. So it is breed specific in that regard. But I think I think that knowing a dog since the day it's born is always a benefit, I think, as an exhibitor, as an owner handler, because I've seen how that dog is developed and whether it has reached its promise or has not.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because I have always said that the breeder should know its own litter best. And yet, I believe there's some recent articles or evidence that breeders rarely choose the right puppy. And that's funny, because I recently went and saw my own co-bred litter of puppies down in Texas. And I found the same thing, is that there were only 4 of them, but it was the same ones that caught your eye. And I used to when I lived in Vermont, I used to sit on a knoll in a huge yard in the woods. And I would just sit there with a long lens camera and just photograph the puppies, it just minute by minute by minute as they just stood, and try to grab the ones. And it was always the same ones that got the great photos. So yeah, Doreen says, you're right. Thank you. And I want to address Brenda's asked, do some breed standards discuss the free stack? I guess I assume none of them did, because mine, the Basenji, doesn't. But we all train for it. Is that just peer pressure? Yes, it's pressure. It's what I think the dog show world has done to raise the bar on presentation. Yes, some breed standards discuss not the free stack, but showiness. So, for example, the Mastiff standard says that undue emphasis should not be placed on showiness. And several other standards also state that. And I think that's a great thing, because it speaks to what the original purpose of the breed was. They weren't supposed to be showy. They were just supposed to do their job on the estates. So yes, there are some, and I know of a handful of standards who say that. Now you get standards like the St. Bernard that don't talk about movement. So there are different standards do discuss and leave out different things. So peer pressure, what do you think of that, Dan?
That's a really good point. I don't know if it's peer pressure so much as monkey see, monkey do. The dog, if a dog wins weekend after weekend in a breed, then there's maybe there is pressure to follow suit and do the same manner of presentation as the dog that's winning. I think that if we look back at the history of presentation in individual breeds, we'll probably be able to earmark a specific dog and handler team that sort of raised the bar, or maybe even redirected the focus on that breed in the ring, for better or worse. But I think that, I was thinking about a televised dog show from a few years back, actually a number of years back now, when there was a winning dog that did in fact nail its free stack at the if it was ever going to do it in its career, that was the moment. And that particular animal was able to do it. Its handler delivered, if you will. And it seems to me that from that moment on, we all decided that that's how we wanted to present our dogs. I think you may know, the moment that I'm talking about, but I'm wondering if you think that maybe there's some influence there, perhaps.
Well, there absolutely is, but I don't want to diminish um, the killer free stack either, because it's raising the bar on showcasing your dog. The problem is when, number one, is your dog is not trained well enough, so you free stack it, you stand back, and then it all crumbles. Or the dog doesn't have the structure to do it. That's also one thing that I see a lot is people stand back and show me their dogs, and I think, that's not the best presentation for this dog. So before we close today, I just want to say, if you want to do a killer free stack with your dog, do it well and make sure that your dog is able to emotionally and physically nail that free stack. And we've only got a couple minutes left, Dan.
Well, Lee, thank you. This has been a masterclass in free stacking. I really, on behalf of everyone who's listening and watching, I want to thank you for that. I know that you have a masterclass that's coming up. Initially, you were thinking about July, but I believe you've rescheduled. Do you want to tell everyone about your next masterclass?
Sure. Because of the extreme heat, I decided to reschedule my open to the public masterclass for August 10th at 5 p.m. And it is for owner handlers. And the topic is, do you have the Olympic spirit? So we're going to have fun with that.
That'll be great. I think we'll all be in an Olympics mindset come August. So we'll look forward to joining you there.
And we'll have lots of information about who won what and who lost it because they didn't have the mindset and the steeliness and the grit. We're going to find that out. It'll be fun.
We'll look forward to that. Lee, you also have your interactive webinars, your Blue Ribbon Blueprints. What would you like to share about those?
Yeah, so don't forget that the clubs, national clubs and local clubs are free to the end of the summer, August 31. So if you schedule one before then, Blue Ribbon Blueprint for national clubs and local all breed clubs, and they are specifically for your club, and they are given on Zoom, and you get the recording. Okay, I'm excited for that. I just did one for the Tibet Terrier Club in Massachusetts. That was fun.
That's wonderful. And I also want to remind everyone who's here with us today that if you are thinking of advertising in Ring Ready, that you can reach Megan, your client relationship manager. She is at Megan, MEEGAN, at showsightmagazine.com. And Megan has a summer special for you. So if you send her an email or give her a call, she'll be happy to give you all the details. So we have for the July issue, July 5th, which is a Monday, that is your deadline. And if you are looking to place an ad in the August issue, that deadline is Friday, July the 30th. So that is Megan at showsightmagazine.com. You can always reach me or Lee here every Wednesday at Ring Ready Live. Next week, we're going to be here at the same time, Lee, right? At 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific.
That's right.
And as always, reach out to us. Let us know who you are. Let us know your breed. Let us know what's on your mind. And let us know what is important to you as an owner handler. Dog shows are back in full force. Lee, you're doing a lot of traveling these days, crossing the country. And, you're hopefully seeing the enthusiasm in your ring among owner handlers.
I do.
So that's wonderful. So Lee, thank you so much as always for being here with me and with everyone else. And to all of you, we'll look forward to seeing you next week. And until then, remember to have fun with your dogs.
And thanks, everybody, and thanks for posting in the chat, because we love to hear from you and what you're thinking, because we want to deliver. All right.
Thank you so much. See y'all next week. Bye-bye.
See you in the winner's circle.